Welcome to Horn Africa Insight, your source for East Africa's top news. Today's edition covers four key stories shaping the Horn, Al-Sisi and Burhan's talks in Cairo on Sudan's war and the Nile Dam dispute. It's a groundbreaking joint venture between Etihad and Ethiopian Airlines. The passing of Kenya's Raila Odinga, father of democracy, Ethiopia's ambitious master plan for GERD's Negat Lake. Subscribe, like, and share. Let's dive in. Hashtag Horn Africa Insight. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi hosted Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, chair of Sudan's Sovereign Council, in Cairo. The two leaders met at the Etihad Palace to discuss efforts to end Sudan's conflict and strengthen bilateral ties. Al-Sisi emphasized Egypt's backing for Sudan's sovereignty and unity, rejecting attempts to destabilize the country or create parallel authorities. Burhan expressed gratitude for Egypt's continued support. During the talks, they reviewed the ongoing quartet mechanism focused on securing a ceasefire and facilitating humanitarian access. They also addressed the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam in relation to the Nile waters. Al-Sisi and Burhan jointly reaffirmed rejection of unilateral actions on the Blue Nile, with Burhan endorsing a unified position with Egypt on water rights. They were joined by Foreign Minister Badr Abdelhadi and other senior officials. The Renaissance Dam remains a fraught issue. Ethiopia views it as vital for development, while Egypt and Sudan warn of downstream impacts. In recent months, Sudan blamed irregular water releases from Renaissance Dam for flooding along the White Nile. Both Cairo and Khartoum insist on a legally binding agreement on dam operations, which Addis Ababa has resisted. In the meantime, Egypt's Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli said that the Nile is an existential issue for Egypt, one that is absolutely non-negotiable. Water should not be a cause of conflict, but rather the foundation for cooperation and life, he stated. Madbouli emphasized that the Nile's water is an issue of existence that cannot be compromised, and that the Nile Basin countries do not suffer from a scarcity of water resources. He affirmed that Egypt has always been, and continues to be, an active partner in supporting development across African countries, believing that true development is based on integration, not on harming others. The Prime Minister also made it clear the Nile is not granted by anyone, but rather a natural ecosystem shared among nations. Any claim of a fixed share of the Nile's waters, he added, is contrary to both science and international law. Etihad, Ethiopian Forge, high-flying Pact, and a battle for the skies. A new joint venture between Etihad Airways and Ethiopian Airlines is taking shape, set to unlock more than $400 million in annual revenue for Etihad, per reports from October 15th. The deal merges passenger and cargo operations to boost market access across Africa, the Gulf, and Asia. This partnership unlocks massive potential, said Jurian Stelder, Etihad's VP for Network and Alliances. The two airlines plan to consolidate freight operations, linking SF Airlines' Asia Gulf network to Africa via Addis Ababa. Daily flights between Abu Dhabi and Addis will scale up, targeting multiple frequencies and larger aircraft. Etihad's Antonio Aldo Neves praised Ethiopian's operational efficiency, while CEO Mesfin Tasso highlighted passenger experience and expansion goals. Analysts call it a model of strategic complementarity. Ethiopian dominates African routes. Etihad brings premium Gulf and Asian connections. Cargo, moving perishables, pharmaceuticals, and e-commerce is a key frontier. The Pact, the first deep alliance between a Middle East and African airline, could redefine regional aviation, strengthen trade links, and project aviation diplomacy across continents. Can this partnership reshape African skies? Kenya is mourning Raila Odinga, former prime minister and veteran opposition leader, who passed away at age 80 while receiving treatment in India. President William Ruto called him a beacon of courage and the father of our democracy. Odinga reportedly suffered a cardiac arrest during a morning walk near Kochi and was pronounced dead at 9:52 local time. His body will return home for a state funeral with full military honors. Tributes poured in from across Africa and the world, aside from India's Narendra Modi, South Africa's Cyril Ramaphosa, Zambia's Hakainde Hichilema, and Nigeria's Bola Tinubu, all praising Odinga's Pan-African vision. Odinga's career spanned decades of political struggle, from his disputed 2007 election loss, which led to deadly unrest, to the 2018 handshake that reconciled him with President Uhuru Kenyatta. Though he lost 5 presidential bids, his influence on Kenya's democratic reforms was profound. Odinga's body will lie in state at Nyayo Stadium, then be laid to rest at his Bondo farm near Kisumu. He will be remembered as a fighter for freedom, democracy, and justice, a leader whose legacy will continue to inspire generations. Ethiopia has unveiled a master plan for the reservoir formed by the Renaissance Dam, known as Nigat Lake, aiming to transform it into a hub for sustainable development, according to the Ministry of Water and Energy. Speaking at a forum in Bishoftu, Minister Habtamu Itafa framed the dam as a national milestone that has converted the once turbulent Abe River into an engine of long-term prosperity. Under the plan, Nigat Lake is destined to fuel tourism, modern irrigation, commercial fishing, and water-based transport services. The project also targets regional power links to help mitigate energy poverty across East Africa. Stakeholders are reviewing the draft to finalize its rollout. The challenge will be converting this vision into reality, balancing environmental sustainability, resettlement, financing, and geopolitical sensitivities. If successfully implemented, Nigat Lake could become the enduring legacy of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, not just a dam, but a driver of Ethiopia's regional influence and human development. From Al-Sisi and Burhan's Cairo meeting to East Africa's bold aviation moves, the passing of a democratic icon, and Ethiopia's vision for Nigat Lake, the Horn is shaping its own future. If you found this episode insightful, please like, share, and subscribe to HornAfrica Insight. And if you'd like to support independent East African journalism, join our channel membership. Members get early access to videos, behind-the-scenes updates, and exclusive discussions on regional issues. Check the Join button below. Your support helps us keep bringing real stories from the Horn. Follow us on X for daily updates. HornAfrica Insight, where East Africa's story shines. #HornAfrica Insight.